What if everything we've been told about Atlantis is wrong? What if this wasn't just a lost civilization, but something far more terrifying? For thousands of years, humans have searched for Atlantis. We've scoured ocean floors, analyzed ancient texts, and built countless theories. But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if Atlantis wasn't destroyed by natural disaster, but was actually an alien experiment that went horribly wrong? Today, we're going to explore evidence that will change how you think about this legendary city forever. If this sounds incredible, hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss what comes next. Picture this. It's 9,000 years before Plato's time. The Mediterranean is calm, almost too calm. Below the surface, something extraordinary is happening. A massive city rises from the ocean floor, its walls gleaming with materials that shouldn't exist on Earth. The people living there aren't quite human anymore. Their eyes hold knowledge that spans galaxies. Their technology makes our modern world look like stone tools. This is Atlantis, but not the Atlantis you think you know. Plato described Atlantis as a naval power that conquered parts of Western Europe and Africa. He painted a picture of incredible wealth, advanced technology, and a society that had grown too proud for its own good. But here's what's strange. Plato claimed he got this story from Egyptian priests, who had records going back thousands of years. These weren't myths or legends to them. These were historical facts. The priests told of visitors from the sky, beings who came down and chose a group of humans to work with. They built a city unlike anything the world had ever seen. The city was arranged in perfect circles, with canals that followed mathematical patterns found nowhere in nature. The buildings defied physics, reaching heights that should have collapsed under their own weight. But the most disturbing part wasn't the city itself. It was what happened to the people. Ancient Egyptian texts, hidden away in temples for millennia, describe how the Atlanteans began to change. Their lifespans increased dramatically. Some lived for centuries. Their physical strength grew beyond human limits. But most unsettling of all, they started developing abilities that seemed impossible. They could communicate without speaking. They could move objects with their minds. Some could even predict future events with frightening accuracy. Sound familiar? These descriptions match almost perfectly with modern accounts of alien abduction experiences. People taken aboard spacecraft report similar physical changes, enhanced mental abilities, extended lifespans, the ability to communicate telepathically with their captors. What if Atlantis was the first large-scale alien experiment on humanity? Think about the technology Plato described. Atlantis had hot and cold running water throughout the entire city. They had advanced metallurgy, creating alloys that we still can't replicate today. Their ships moved without wind or oars. Their weapons could destroy armies from incredible distances. This wasn't just advanced for their time. This was advanced for our time. Modern archaeologists have found traces of technologies in ancient ruins that we don't fully understand. Perfectly cut stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons, fitted together so precisely that you can't slide a knife blade between them. Ancient batteries that still function after thousands of years. Metal artifacts that contain elements not naturally found on Earth. But here's where it gets really interesting. Ancient astronaut theorists have mapped these anomalous sites around the world. And guess what? They all fall into a specific pattern. A pattern that matches exactly with the locations where ancient texts describe visitors from the sky making contact with human civilizations. Atlantis wasn't alone. It was part of a global network. The Mayans spoke of the feathered serpent Kukulkan, who descended from the heavens to teach humanity. The Sumerians wrote about the Anunnaki, sky beings who gave them advanced knowledge. The ancient Indians described Vimanas, flying vehicles that could travel between worlds. Every major ancient civilization has stories of beings from the sky who transformed their society. But they all share another common element. They all describe these experiments ending in disaster. The Egyptian priests told Plato that Atlantis became corrupt. The people grew proud and warlike. They began using their enhanced abilities for conquest and domination. The sky beings, seeing what their experiment had created, decided to end it. What happened next sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's described in detail across multiple ancient sources. The sky opened up and rained fire down on the earth. Massive earthquakes split the ground. Tidal waves taller than mountains swept across entire continents. In a single day and night, Atlantis vanished beneath the waves. But was this really a natural disaster? Or was it something else entirely? Modern climate scientists have studied geological records from around 11,000 years ago, roughly when Atlantis supposedly existed. They found evidence of a massive global catastrophe. Ice cores show dramatic temperature changes. Sediment layers reveal enormous floods. But most puzzling of all, they found traces of materials in the atmosphere that shouldn't be there. Materials that match what we see after nuclear explosions. Could the beings who created Atlantis have decided to destroy their failed experiment using weapons we're only beginning to understand? Here's what really makes you think. After the destruction of Atlantis, human civilization essentially reset. We went from potentially advanced societies to basic hunter-gatherer groups almost overnight. The knowledge that had been accumulated over thousands of years simply vanished. Writing systems disappeared. Complex tools became simple ones. It's as if someone had deliberately erased human progress and forced us to start over. But some knowledge survived, hidden in myths and legends passed down through generations. Secret societies formed around fragments of Atlantean knowledge. Ancient mystery schools taught selected students about the true history of humanity. And slowly, very slowly, we began to rebuild. The question is, are we rebuilding toward the same endpoint? Are we unknowingly repeating the same experiment that created Atlantis? Look around you. Our technology is advancing at an unprecedented rate. We are developing artificial intelligence that surpasses human capabilities. We are manipulating genetics to enhance human performance. We are even working on direct brain-to-computer interfaces that would allow us to communicate telepathically through technology. We are becoming exactly what the Atlanteans became. enhanced humans with godlike abilities and the technology to reshape the world according to our will. But here's the terrifying part. If Atlantis really was an alien experiment, and if that experiment was judged a failure and terminated, what happens when we reach the same level of development? Are the beings who destroyed Atlantis still watching us? Are they waiting to see if we'll make the same mistakes? Recent increases in UFO sightings suggest that something is paying very close attention to human development. Government officials who spent decades denying the existence of UFOs are now admitting that we're dealing with technology beyond our understanding. These craft demonstrate abilities that match exactly what ancient texts described about the sky beings' vehicles. They move without visible propulsion. They ignore the laws of physics as we understand them. They appear and disappear at will. And most importantly, they seem to be monitoring our technological progress with increasing frequency. The evidence is everywhere once you know what to look for. Ancient texts describing advanced civilizations destroyed by sky beings. Archaeological anomalies that suggest lost technology. Modern UFO encounters that mirror ancient descriptions of celestial visitors. And a timeline that suggests we're approaching the same technological threshold that Atlantis reached before its destruction. So what's the truth about Atlantis? Was it simply a philosophical allegory created by Plato to teach about the dangers of hubris and corruption? Or was it something far more real and far more ominous? A historical record of humanity's first attempt at transcendence, and a warning about what happens when that transcendence goes wrong. The evidence suggests that Atlantis was real, that it was more advanced than we've been told, and that its destruction wasn't natural, but deliberate. A cosmic reset button pushed by beings who judged their experiment a failure. The question now is whether we're smart enough to learn from Atlantis's mistakes, or whether we're doomed to repeat them. Because if the pattern holds true, we're running out of time to make that choice. The sky beings are watching. The question is, what will they decide about us? Subscribe if you want to dive deeper into mysteries that challenge everything we think we know about human history.